we're here to celebrate the auspicious Bhadra campaign, book distribution campaign. And over to you, Maharaj, I think.
Oh, what's our schedule?
We will show first the results of Bhadra.
Now?
Now.
Okay.
And after that, we can speak.
All right, let's see those fantastic results. As Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir, under its leadership, sets the example for so much of the world.
So these are the statistics for Bhadra 2024, which ran from Gaura Purnima this year till Bhadra Purnima. So we have the results from last year. Last year, during the 6 months, we distributed 185 Srimad Bhagavatam sets, and Lakshmi collected 55,500 Lakshmi points. So that was for last year, and from there's a big jump towards this year. So this year we did 436 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. And Lakshmi collected 130,800 Lakshmi points. There is an increase of 235% from last year to this year. So this is for the Bhadra campaign. And also we'll read out about the devotees who participated. So 33 devotees distributed one Srimad Bhagavatam set each, and 22 devotees distributed 2 Srimad Bhagavatam sets each, and 13 devotees more than 3 Srimad Bhagavatam sets, and in total we have 73 devotees participated.
Amazing.
73. Now we'll go to the total book distributed so far this year. Hare Krishna. Now the total books distributed so far in this year. Small books 3,344. Medium books 799. Big books 1,716. Maha big books 5,779. And Srimad Bhagavatam sets so far this year 458 sets. And Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita sets 7 so far. And Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita sets 43. So for Lakshmi collected throughout the year 271,095 Lakshmi points. Hare Krishna. So these are the results so far, and we request speak.
I think back to 1983, which was when I was trained to sell what we used to call the Eastern Classics. And in those days, we'd sell a set of Sri Bhagavatams, a set of Chaitanya Charitamritas, a set of Devamrita, and a set of Back to God magazines, back issues, all bound with a bookcase and everything. And that was $1,000. And I used to sign people up, and they'd pay over a period of months. And I think in my heyday, I was selling a set a month. A set a month. And of course, $1,000 in 1983 or 1984 was a significant amount of money. And it wasn't like we had a huge field of customers. So times have changed. Now we're regularly getting devotees registering stores where they're selling 3 sets in a day. And of course, a set of Bhagavatams now is a lot more affordable. So it was quite an effort, and I'm sure it still is quite an effort to get somebody to purchase a $300 commitment or investment, we would say. So, not easy to sell such a large set of books, effectively large set of books, especially in this day and age. Our strategic planning consultant, Keith, was telling us the other day, oh, books are out of fashion. It's all electronic these days. I said, we just sold 100 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam this week. He's really surprised. It's a challenge to sell Prabhupada's books to an audience that's not always ready, but with the determination and enthusiasm and the association of the devotees, we find that customers are inspired and encouraged and do start reading Prabhupada's books. We saw from the testimonies of some of our customers from last year's Christmas from Prabhupada Marathon. A lot of people are actually praying for inspiration and for learning and for spiritual understanding. There's people out there who are really seeking authentic spiritual and transcendental life. There are many people who are searching. So it's encouraging and enthusing and inspiring to see the efforts of our book distributors, so many, at this time of the year. It's not, it's not like Christmas time. There's a certain enthusiasm and fever for spending money at Christmas. So it's quite easy to almost sell anything at that time of the year, but in the middle of September, right? August, September is not the most. In fact, the weather here can be pretty miserable, as we saw on Thursday, right? So I'd really like to thank all of you who went out on book distribution. Now, I know most of you are concentrating on the Indian audience, right? Which in one sense is kind of they're our best customers. But the real challenge is going to be to do the crossover into the other 96% of the population for whom Srila Prabhupada left India to preach to. Right? That was Prabhupada's mission. So the challenge for our book distributors is, well, to connect with people. Not only do we sell books, but we should get their contact details, or at least give them an opportunity to connect with us. We've just designed a bookmark which has got a QR code on it, and we've got a landing page on Hare Krishna Melbourne website where if any of our customers want to find out more information or how to get more books or how to get more inspiration from the devotees, should make sure that we're handing out those bookmarks. We've got the bookmarks, yep. We've got the landing page, so now we need to give people an opportunity to get back to us so that we can then further and deepen their exploration in Prabhupada's books. And we should be giving the books. Lord Chaitanya's instructions were to not discriminate, to broadly distribute Krishna consciousness to everybody. Right? So we've had a fantastic result for this year's Bhadra campaign. We're looking forward to a similar result for the Prabhupada Marathon. And let's broaden our horizons so that we're engaging as many as we can in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan mission, Sankirtan movement, and in the exploration of the Srimad Bhagavatam and all of the other of Srila Prabhupada's books. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki.
His Grace Aniruddha Prabhu ki. Om Jnana-Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militang Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. When I first came to Melbourne, about 30 years ago, I remember Aniruddha Prabhu telling me about his set distribution days. And so you've heard from a veteran. I'd like to go back in time before that, to the early 70s, mid-70s, when Srila Prabhupada first started talking about distributing sets of his books. And that was inconceivable in 1973, 74, 75. I remember devotees going out on Fifth Avenue in New York, that famous street in New York, and if they could distribute one Bhagavad Gita in a day, they ran back to the temple. I did it, I sold a Bhagavad Gita on the street today. That was the litmus test for if you were a potent book distributor. Could you distribute one Bhagavad Gita throughout the whole day? And then Prabhupada starts talking about distributing sets of his books, especially since by 1976, his books, up until the 10th canto, were available. They were published. And this was inconceivable to devotees. So I remember when, right around the same time that Prabhupada instructed His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj to preach in China, he also had His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj look into accelerating set distribution. Well, accelerating, get it going from zero to something. And the attitude devotees had was, well, who would buy a full set of these books? You can't even pronounce the title. Because this is before the big immigration from India into the USA, into Europe. So you didn't have that fertile, best customer market at all. You were simply dealing with the wild Westerners, as we can call them. So His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj and another devotee, Devamrita, they investigated encyclopedia sales, techniques, because back then in the 70s, people would have encyclopedia salesmen come to their door and people would buy a full set of encyclopedias. As a little kid, my mother would get me set after set of encyclopedias, and I would just read them cover to cover. So it was normal that then for having an encyclopedia salesman come to your door. So the devotees researched this, and then they went to Prabhupada and made their presentation after exhaustively researching how sets of books could be sold. And so they entered Prabhupada's room, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj and the other devotee, and of course paid their dandavats, and then described all the research they had done, and all the brainstorming, all the strategic planning, strategic analysis, and then they gave the conclusion, Prabhupada, it can't be done. So how was Prabhupada's response? All right, you all have, in so many words, not his words, but you've done your homework, you've done your research, you've done your strategic analysis. All right, if that's the way it is, in other words, that's the way it is. But I still think it's possible. So there, the situation rested. Until we have the explosive scores of today. Now, those of you from Bharat should understand that even from the Bharat viewpoint, the sales of Srimad Bhagavatam are unprecedented. Let's go back in the history of India. Some of you may know about the history of the Indian campaign for independence. Some of you have studied or you've been taught in school. Let's go back to the beginning of the 20th century. There were various, what they would call themselves Hindu nationalists, like Dayananda Saraswati, and he and his cohorts were strategizing. They were doing their own strategic planning, just like you all here. The management here does its wonderful strategic planning. So they discussed and concluded, if we're going to unite India for independence, the last thing we need is Srimad Bhagavatam. It's too exotic. It's just, who can get their heads around it? It's not a suitable medium for political mobilization. Better we choose the Upanishads. They're much more generic, referring to impersonal Brahman, and they don't get so much into esoteric subject matter like the cantos of the Bhagavatam do. So that was how this notion, part of the reason why this notion that the Bhagavatam is something too exotic, too mystical, how that notion even happened in India. The political nationalist quasi-Hindu leaders were looking for a suitable mechanism for rallying the people, and they felt that Bhagavatam was just too exotic. Yet, Prabhupada has instructed us right in the beginning of Bhagavatam that it's the initiator of a campaign for re-spiritualizing the entire human society. This is how ambitious is Srila Prabhupada, and this is how ambitious is the scope of Srimad Bhagavatam. I was just reading today, in the beginning of Bhagavatam, at the end of chapter 3, first canto, how in the purports, Prabhupada explained something very astonishing, that all the benefits that you can derive if Krishna is directly in your presence, all those same benefits can be derived from Srimad Bhagavatam. So what do you think of that?
Should be more than $300.
Well, Aniruddha Prabhu is mentioning about $300 and how the price should be more. I, in my quest for Srimad Bhagavatam, in my non-devotee days, gave a bit more than $300 for Srimad Bhagavatam. So Aniruddha Prabhu was mentioning how he was selling sets, not only of Bhagavatam, but Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhakti-Gata magazine, Lilamrita, for $1,000 back then in '83. Anyone can do a quick consult Chat GPT and find out Now what is 1,000 Australian dollars back in '83? What's it worth now? Who's quick on that? Arjuna Saka, you got it? It's probably worth at least $3,000 today. Huh? More. Oh, the accountant is speaking up.
$3,029.
Ah, I was right on the mark. Make me a chartered accountant. So, I was describing, I think a little bit yesterday, but in honor of Srimad Bhagavatam, I'll say a little more today. I had no desire to associate with devotees, but I loved Srila Prabhupada's books. Do you know what the first words I ever said to a devotee in this lifetime, what those first words were? I walked up to a devotee at a bus terminal in New York City, and there I was, big Sai Baba hairstyle, clothed like a yavana, knee-length suede leather coat, wearing,
Cool dude.
wearing the latest New York fashions. So I walked up to a devotee and I said, the first words I ever spoke to a devotee in this lifetime, I said, do you have Srimad Bhagavatam? Long story short, after the first and second encounters with such devotees, I was minus in today's financial value $20,000. And I'd never been to a temple before. Never been to a Namhat Bhakti Vriksha, nothing. But I was so much desiring Srimad Bhagavatam. I had heard that it's the literary incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it takes all the themes of Bhagavad Gita and expands upon them, and is like a spiritual encyclopedia. So as a little kid, I used to read set after set of encyclopedias, cover to cover. So I thought, now we have this encyclopedia of the spiritual world. So just think, you can get all the benefits that you get from Lord Krishna being directly in front of you. You can get that from reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the miracle of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the literary presence of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya has instructed, before you are liberated, read Srimad Bhagavatam, and after you are liberated, go on reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So all you liberated souls here, still you should read Srimad Bhagavatam. It's glorious how the Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir, under its leadership, has distributed so many sets. This not only makes the BBT happy, which Prabhupada says is his heart, but it makes the whole world happy. You can't understand fully the impact of what a full set in someone's home can bring. You may think, all right, they've got the full set, they'll never read them. But even if they don't ever read them, they have the literary presence of the Supreme Lord in their home. And what are you going to do with a full set of books like that? They don't go anywhere. You can't give them away. There are too many to give to someone. Take these. I have no room in my house. You're stuck with them. Of course, you can give, besides your own set, you can give other sets away. But it's hard giving your own set away because the Bhagavatam just occupies such a monumental presence in the home. And sooner or later, persons will start reading them. I'll tell you one story quickly from the USA. There was one devotee, he was an auto worker working in the auto factories making cars. And he was not an educated devotee. He was kind of a urban worker, in the urban worker category. And so he drove from the Midwest, where the auto factories are, to visit his mother in the deep south of the USA, in the deep south. On his way to his mother's house, he was stopped by the police in Alabama. I don't know if you know anything about Alabama. It's not one of the most open-minded places in the U.S. Do you have any places in Australia like that?
Yes, parts of Queensland, parts of South Australia.
Aniruddha Prabhu says parts of Queensland, parts of South Australia. So he was pulled over by the police. And he said, "Boy, where you going?" So he said, I'm going to visit my mother." "Boy, do you know what's wrong with your car?" "Well, my car's fine. My car's fine." "Boy, just take a look. Look at your tires. You got white tires on the back and black tires in the front." "Boy, I suggest you immediately go to a petrol station," called the gas stations in the U.S., "and get that situation fixed if you know what's good for you." Anyway, that's where he's from, in the down south. So he finally got to his mother's house, and he went to sleep in the guest room, woke up in the morning, and there's a bookshelf over his head. And he sees on the bookshelf, with many other books, he sees some book he can't even pronounce the name. I remember how he described it with his urban accent. I looked up and I saw Srimad Bhagavatam. I wonder, what is this? So he took the book, as he's still laying in bed, he took the book down and started reading it. And he fell in love with the contents, but time to go back to work up north, so he left the book there and drove back to his work at the auto factory. And then the next year he came down again, and the same thing happened. He woke up in the morning, and there's that book, Srimad Bhagavatam. So he started reading it, and he decided, this time I'm taking the book with me. And so he took the book back to his home city and was reading it, and he knew nothing about devotees, knew nothing about how to contact devotees. And so that's where the situation seemed to end. Except he decided, I'm going to write this Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, and I'm going to see if they got any more books. In his urban talk, he said, "This is a bad book. This book is bad." So he started getting books from mail order, just like I did, and he had no idea how to associate with devotees. And then one day, he was driving to the auto factory, 6 a.m. in the morning for the first shift, and he saw devotees coming out of a building, and they were looking very joyful and happy. And he pulled over his car, and because he saw, they look like pictures I've seen in the books. So he pulled over and asked, "Who are y'all?" And they said, "Oh, we're devotees of Krishna." He said, "What y'all doing? It's 5 a.m. in the morning." They said, "Well, we just finished Mangal Arti, chanting and dancing." "Y'all party at 5 a.m. in the morning?" So, this must be a really good religion. Party at 5 a.m. So in that way, he got the whole set of Srimad Bhagavatams, and he became a wonderful devotee. And then he decided, see, on the walls of this huge auto plant, there's so much grease. And so one day he got a ladder and sketched on the wall, the greasy walls of the auto plant, he sketched Hare Krishna. And the management was quite upset, like, well, how can you do this at the auto plant? But the management didn't want to spend the time to erase the words. They calculated it would take too much labor to undo what was done, so just leave it there and hopefully gradually it deteriorates. But then one lady worker saw Hare Krishna on the sketched in the grease on the wall of the auto plant, and she asked, "Who did that?" And they told him they told her it's him, but they worked on 2 different shifts, so they never met. And then one day, he came in early on his shift, just when she was ending her shift. She was on the midnight shift. And she said, "Are you the one? Are you the one who put Hare Krishna there? I'd like to know more about it." So he introduced her to Srimad Bhagavatam and left it at that. And then one day, when he came in for his 6 o'clock shift, and she was ending the midnight shift at 6 a.m., she had already started reading Bhagavatam. She walked past him and she just threw him a line. "Hi, husband." And so he threw her a line back. "Well, if I'm the husband, where have you been?" Anyway, a year later they married. And they've been married ever since for like 40 years. So this is the power of Srimad Bhagavatam. Fulfills all your desires. So we thank you so much for this greatest welfare work. I was speaking on one of Vaisheshika Prabhu's Bhadra campaign Zoom conferences about what is real welfare work. Any soft-hearted human being wants to benefit the whole world. But what is real benefit? This is the special gift of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming through Parampara. The real benefit, real benevolence, real welfare work is to uproot the 3-fold miseries. Now, people will say, well, how can you do that? I mean, life is what it is. Things come, things go. Happiness, distress, that's just the way it is. But the Bhagavatam is focused on getting to the root of all problems, not just stopping superficial events, stopping superficial sufferings, how to end it all. But people may think that's too much. But they're spending morning to night counteracting miseries. It's a little chilly in here. Let me put on a jumper. Stomach's rumbling. I'm a bit hungry. Tongue's dry, a bit thirsty. This is all counteraction. You're always trying to counteract. You can make a time study of your whole day and night, and you'll find at every moment you're counteracting something. So I love the way Srila Prabhupada puts this. Since you're so busy with these minor counteractions, why not take up the ultimate counteraction? And what's our response? Ooh, no, that's too much. Always think of Krishna, become his devotee, surrender to Krishna. That's too much. But yet you're so invested in all these minute counteractions, but we won't take the ultimate counteraction. This is our misfortune. So Srimad Bhagavatam, as stated in the 2nd verse of the 1st canto, is meant for getting to the root of all material suffering and doing away with it. Otherwise, if we're just egotistical, we'll take great pride in counteracting this little thing, counteracting that little thing. Just see what I've done. I had a mosquito bite and I put some salve on it. Everything is taken care of. We take great pride in that, but we fail to address the root of the problem, the threefold miseries. Miseries of the body and mind, miseries caused by other living entities, miseries caused by material nature, as supervised by the Devatas. So what is that solution to all the problems? That is Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyone who reads Srimad Bhagavatam can never be the same. So this is the result of what you're trying to do. You are producing such a transformation in persons. Maybe you won't see it all in this lifetime. But what is this one lifetime? Lord Chaitanya did not bestow prema on everyone he met for this lifetime. There were others who, Vrindavan Das Thakur says in Chaitanya Bhagavat, next life, even though they met Lord Chaitanya. But what is next life? It's not far away. So don't become small-minded in your approach to how to benefit people, how to show the greatest compassion. By distributing sets of Srimad Bhagavatam, you are pleasing the predecessor acharyas, you're pleasing your spiritual masters, you're pleasing all of human society. In fact, you're pleasing all living entities because you're giving out the literary presence of Krishna. So we thank you all, and we want to thank the leadership headed by Aniruddha Prabhu of Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir, because without a visionary leadership, such a campaign can't happen. But when the whole temple swings behind this greatest welfare work, you see amazing results. As Vaisheshika Prabhu said, where attention goes, energy flows. So you all definitely demonstrated where attention goes, because we can now see the energy has flowed. And we look forward to much more of that. So again, I thank you all for your wonderful service, and it's an honor to speak with you all. And we thank the Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir management for their vision that this can be done. So please continue, go on increasing. You've shown you can do such a sizable impact. It's only the beginning. Hare Krishna.
You can give for top 9 distributors.
Gifts for the top 9.
Hare Krishna. So we will start from number 8. Okay, 2 are on 8, right? Yeah, and the listen. Parthasarathi Prabhu. And you have been distributing for some time.
Great example set by a Bhakti Vriksha leader.
Prabhu has distributed 6 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. And Arjun Saka Prabhu. Arjun Saka Prabhu is a great Bhagavatam distributor. Last marathon he distributed 30 Bhagavatam sets as well. So this time 7 for Bhadra Purnima, probably in one day.
How many?
One day he did 7 Bhagavatam sets. Hare Krishna, thank you. Mukunda Krishna Prabhu. He's a steady distributor. He does book tables.
How many?
Mukunda 7. And Dakshita Mataji. Mataji has done 8 Srimad Bhagavatam sets, and She participated in the campaign for the first time. First time she started distributing Srimad Bhagavatam.
First time.
Yeah, this is the first time she started, so.
Tell everyone your secrets.
Blessings of the devotees.
Nikunja Vasni Mataji, 10 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. Mataji is a regular distributor of Bhagavatams and other books.
Ah.
Throughout the year.
Do I know you from somewhere? Wonderful news. Thank you.
Matsya Mataji. Okay. Okay. Next one. Sri Ram Prabhu. Sri Ram Prabhu is back in action. One time, a few years back, he did a campaign to distribute book sets in libraries.
I remember.
In and around Melbourne. So this time he has done 15 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. Odisi Prabhu, not in town, he is also a seasoned distributor. He has done 15 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. And now we are going to the top 2 positions who have done a lot of Srimad Bhagavatam sets. So on the second level we have Anita Mataji. 25 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. Mataji is also participating for the first time. She just picked up the first time distribution and has done very well.
Amazing. What inspired you?
Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit.
Oh. Excellent.
Now we have the top. That is Mahalakshmi Mataji. Mataji has distributed 209 Srimad Bhagavatam sets.
This is for real or a dream?
She's a full-time distributor, and every day she does 2 or 3 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. So whole day she's going around calling people, going to shops, knocking doors, all different means, and she has been consistent for many years. And this year for the campaign, 6 months she participated and did 209 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Please teach others. Teach others how to do this. Don't keep your secrets to yourself. Actually, Srila Prabhupada wrote His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, there's only one service higher than the Sankirtan devotee. That's the Sankirtan leader. Because the Sankirtan leader inspires others and shows others. So then that way your score increases. It's like multi-level marketing, you know? You get the credit from what so many others do. If you can impart to them some Shakti. Hare Krishna.
Anita Mataji, number 2, got trained by Mahalakshmi Mataji.
Oh, so you started already. Stay in good health so that your service can go on increasing like this.
Thank you.
We have some photos for the pleasure of the devotees. We want to make an announcement. So we will start marathon as usual from 24th of November till 24th of December. So we finish the day before Christmas. And we are starting a campaign which we tried out before, which is the Or Bad campaign, 1 book a day challenge.
Shouldn't it be a set a day?
I think think for Maharashtra Mataji definitely, and the Mataji we can add at least a set a day. But here we need at least 150 participants, new participants, to take part in one book a day, which is not that difficult. Any book, anywhere, have your book and just keep distributing. We ran that a few months back, and it was very successful. So many books got distributed by this campaign, one book a day. Probably 15 to 20 devotees participated, and they were not doing one book. Some days it used to be one book, otherwise it was more than one book. So it was very successful. It started as one book a day, but ended up distributing many more books. So we have our regular distributors, we have our regular participants in marathon, but those who are not can take up this challenge, one book a day, and we need as many devotees as possible to participate in this and to make this upcoming marathon successful. Hare Krishna.
It's very awe-inspiring to see this wonderful service to Srila Prabhupada and the Parampara. It's very humbling. And do you think you can double it next year?
This year, December.
Oh, December is coming.
This is the December marathon, isn't it?
Yeah, this is for the December marathon.
I'll leave you with one final Prabhupada said. There's so many so-called Prabhupada says, but I only repeat those that I can directly verify. Because during my days with the BBT in Los Angeles, I was in charge of filing all of Prabhupada's correspondence, letters to him and from him, so I got to see all sides of situations. So twice, at the beginning of the 70s and then right before Prabhupada's disappearance, twice he was asked by book distributors how to become an empowered book distributor. He was asked at the beginning of the big book distribution boom in the early 70s and in his Prabhupada's final days physically with us in 1977. Same question. How to become an empowered book distributor? He said the same thing both times, although years apart. He said, chant your 16 rounds from beginning to end without interruption. Hare Krishna.
We would like to thank Devamrita Prabhu for ordering the books. Even it was difficult to convince the treasury. When Mataji heard about we had to order so many Bhagavatam sets, 100 Bhagavatam, another 50, another 100, another 200. So it was quite a challenge to understand how is it possible. And also arranging everything and also allotting books, giving to different devotees and inspiring. So we thank Devamrita Prabhu for overall organizing this campaign.
But when the treasurer saw the income, she was very happy.
Order more books then.
That's right. So for the Bhadra campaign period, that was an income total of $228,000. So that translates, if everybody's selling books at the correct price, that's $110,000 profit for the month. So that's quite a shot in the arm for the Treasury. But it's always tough to get money out. It's easy to put money in, right? Hard to get money out. But a substantial increase in income in the Bhadra campaign. So on behalf of the managers, the administrators, I guess, and on behalf of the Treasury, really appreciate that increase in income. Much appreciated. And we'll try to persuade Krishna to make purchasing books much easier. But I don't know whether that's in her DNA, to be honest. But thank you anyway.
Prabhu, Mahalakshmi Mataji wants to speak. She wants to speak now.
Thank you so much for organizing this, Aniruddha Prabhu, and this was a big pleasure. And I just want to say a few words, like my journey quickly. When I just came to Krishna consciousness, we went to a retreat, and Ajahn Rupni Mataji was there, and that time she taught us, like, you know, through her I learned you should use your skills for devotional service, whatever skills we've got. And then my Hanuman Das Prabhuji, my Shiksha Guru, he took me physically to the city, you know, and showed me what book distribution. And then I have all mentors in the temple, you know, Dvija Prabhu, Gopavendesh Prabhu, Arjun Sakha Prabhu, and all, like, they all are mentors. We look at them and they really inspire us, all of us, continuously in book distribution. All the, you know, all the congregation, everyone. It's really inspiration from with everyone, like, so I'm really deeply thankful from my heart, and it's a blessing to get Maharaj, you know, mercy today. I've asked for blessings and prayers, so we continuously serve in this, you know, from my heart. And we know we are not the doers, Lord's the doer. We are just an instrument in the hands. And it's just, you know, I desire for it too. So I'm just engaged in devotional service all the time. So, you know, because God is in Maya. That, like, so I just feel, so thank you so much. Really appreciate it for this. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
And I guess we should thank Mahalakshmi and Sanjay. Basically, within the last, 2 months, they've pretty much surrendered to Radha Vallabha and to Prabhupada, both working full-time in service to the temple and the community. So, yeah, keep it up, keep at it. So Prabhupada ki